So today on this video, we're going to get into the specifics of what you need to get a real estate flip done. What are the steps you need? What are the processes, all that stuff that you need to have in place, you need to know about before stepping forth into the arena of doing the flip. Last week we talked about who is an investor, what is an investor, when do you invest. Today we're going to get into a little bit, if we have time, of where you invest and the steps you need to get this process started. Hey, so let's get started. Today, I'm going to go over excuse my handwriting, 3 P's of real estate, RE for short, investing. 3 P's of real estate investing. Okay. And these are the things that you need to know about to get started. Like we said, you need to have this knowledge inside yourself. You need to have this stuff written down. You need to be aware of these things before you step into a flip, before you start putting your money out there and expecting to get a return. You have to know how the process works. Okay, first step, as with anything, investment or in life, have to have a plan. What is the plan? What is the plan? And that really encompasses kind of what we're going to be talking about this whole episode. What is the plan? And what do you need? What do you need to have things prepared to go the right way? The first thing you're going to need when you're talking about a plan, we'll break this back down later, but you're going to need management. Think of it like a corporation, like a business. This flip is going to be have many different components, many different parts, and you need to have proper management. And when we're talking about management, we're talking about team structure, who's paying out what, who's doing what, who do we need. So we'll get into that in a little bit too. But you need to have management and that structure broken down of who's going to be in charge, who's going to be having control of each area of this flip. So we'll break, that'll kind of drift down into everything we're talking about today as far as who you need in your management team for what is the plan. The second thing, once you have your management set forth of the people you're going to need in place, and we'll cover that in a further step, you're also going to need to know the market. How do I determine if something is a good real estate investment flip? If there's an opportunity in this property, is there an opportunity in this place? Is it a good timing for the market for me to get into my first flip or my 7th flip or my 100th flip? Is this a good time for me to buy and hold for long-term rental properties, or do I want to turn it over quickly? That's a little bit of personal interest, but that's also something you need to be aware of the market. When we're talking about the market, we're talking about rental return rates. What are the return rates in your area? That will determine how much money you can get out of something for a long-term rental. What is the price per square foot in the neighborhood you're looking at? What is the market doing as far as our home prices on the incline or on the decline? Generally, over a 10-year period, home prices are always on the incline, but on the year-to-year, month-to-month, and 6-month to 6-month time frame, quarter-to-quarter, when you get into the smaller 3 months, what is the market doing right now? So that'll determine things for you as far as is this a good time to buy this specific property or do this specific thing. Market, you also need to know when you're getting your money together. That's part of the management part of this thing as well. When you're getting your money together, what is the cost of, if I'm borrowing money, if I'm using some leveraging somebody else's funds, a private lender or a bank or an investment pool, what kind of return rates are they expecting? And so now we're just getting ourselves together, we're thinking about the things, writing down the things that we're going to need to get this thing started. I mentioned before in last week, it says a wise man gets counsel. A wise man gets counsel before going into anything. He gets, in the multitude of counselors there is safety. So you need to get all these things together, talk to people, do your research before you get started. I'll help you with that stuff as well. And on to money. That's the main thing most people are concerned about. Okay, how does the money work for all this? So that's some things you need to look into. Lending, do I need money to get this done? How much is the property? How much do I need to put into it? And we're going to get on into how you figure all that stuff out. And do I have the finances in place? Do I have the people in place to get this done? So what we talked about here with what is the plan? You're going to have your management team, and we're going to break that down some. What's the market like? Do your research, reach out to your pros in this area. We'll break down who some of those people are in the next one. And what's the money looking like? Do you have the money? Do you need to get the money? Do you know how to get the money? Or are you leveraging other people's assets or using your own? So all those kind of things are we're talking about what is the plan? Do I have any idea what I'm getting into? And then once you think you have to get this plan together and to make sure you have it all together, the second thing we need to focus on, our second P, is who are the people? I have wonderful handwriting, so as you all can see. Who are the people? So I talked about this a little bit in the plan, and I was saying I'll get to this in the people. When you're talking about the management, when you're talking about the market, when you're talking about the money, you need to know which specific team member in your management team is going to be handling what task and why are they handling that task. So when we get into the people, who's doing it? What are the people I need to have, the team members I need to have to get this together? And these are the essential people. You can spread these out a little bit. First thing you need is a contractor or builder. And you think, well, the first thing I need is me. I'm the head of the team. You are the one who will have the decisions most likely, because you're going to be one running the flip. But you need to have people who have knowledge of this thing you're getting into, any specific area, to make these decisions on what kind of money you need, what the market is like, and to handle your management structure thing. So the first thing I talk about is a contractor. And this is for if you're doing a fix and flip, where you're turning this thing over quickly, whether you're building from land up or just clearing land, or if you're renting a property, you're still going to need to put money into that and get it so you can get the top dollar amount for that rental that you're trying to get. But the first thing you're going to need is a contractor. A good contractor provides you with so many things. He provides you with, when you go into a property that needs work done, how much is this going to cost? And that'll give you a good scope of work. They'll give you the scope of work for how much money I need for this. So now I know how much it costs. I know how much money I'll need to put into it. And then some of my other team members, who I'll go over in a second, can give me an idea of how much I can get out of this. But a contractor, a good one, it's going to take some trial and error, most likely, because you're going to have to go out there with some of these people. You're going to have to trust their word on it if you're not a contractor yourself. So take recommendations. See if you can find their work. Do they have pictures of their work? Do they have testimonials of their work? Other people who have said, this is quality work and this is actually what they've done for us, and the prices were what they estimated them to be. But this is going to be a very, very, very important person, is the contractor or builder, because they're going to get all your numbers for you. Because as we go through these people, these professionals, these people are also pros. Right, a little pros beside that. That's a little sub P in the big P of who are the people. These are pros, meaning they have the experience, they have the knowledge, they have the background to actually give you a good information here. And it's not just something they're coming up with off the top of their head. The contractor will give you a time frame. Will this fix and flip? Will this build? Will this work that needs to be done? Is it going to take 6 months, 3 months? Is it going to take a year and a half? That all varies depending on what you're doing. So the contractor will tell you how long, how much money, and you'll be in a good spot to move forward from there. The next person you're going to need this is optional, it kind of goes in with the contractor some, is your inspector. Inspector is going to go in and make sure that everything that needs to be fixed is seen by that contractor. It's seen by the person who needs to get the work done. You've seen it, or they've taken pictures of it. They've told you what condition the property is in. So especially for fix and flips, if you don't have an inspector, or if you're a contractor, is not going in there and looking at things himself. You got to have somebody come in there and really inspect the house so you get as little possible surprises. You're probably going to have surprises with this stuff, but you want as little as possible. And when we were talking about money before, with money, whatever the project plan is, whatever the parameters you set forth, always try to save about 5 to 10% over that, because there's always something that you run into. The inspector can't see what's behind the walls, so when you start knocking stuff down, sometimes you see things. But an inspector really will save you some heartache on the back end, so your budget's not messed up. Third person, this is really optional, an appraiser. Appraiser, you can combine that with my next one will be appraiser and real estate agent. So if you have a real estate agent who is really have some background in doing fix and flips, really knows the market in that area of how to evaluate that, not all do. I'm a real estate agent, so I'm more accustomed to doing it, but not everyone is great at appraising or has the training to do an appraisal. So an appraiser will tell you what's it going to be worth at the end, so you can know how much budget you can allocate to this and how much money and stuff that you can move forward with in there. Number 5, we have 1 was contractor, 2 was the inspector, 3 was the appraiser, and 4 was the agent. So the real estate agent is also going to be the one who's going to sell that property. So you're going to need them on the back end to get all this stuff done, to put it out there on the market, and it just makes it easier for you. 5, and this is if you're doing a rental property, a long term, where you're holding on something for a long term and getting a renter in there or a leasee, you're going to need a property manager. I say need, but believe me, anyone who has multiple properties, it's going to save you a lot of time, energy, and it'll also be worth the money if you have a property manager going in there, being that in between you and the renter, you and the leasee, the leaseholder, because you don't want to get called at 2 o'clock in the morning by your 5 different, you're really going for it now, you have 10 different rental properties, and 10 different people are calling you for minor problems that could have been handled by your property management team, and you could have just been worried about what is your return rates, and now you have to worry about there's a leak under the faucet. So property management, you're like, oh, I can make a little bit more, 10% more from my rental agreement by doing it myself. There's a reason you hire pros to do things for you. A good consumer, a good client is also a good customer. Consumer, client, all those makes you a better manager as well. Okay. Now the last part of the 3 P's is race over here. The presentation. So what am I talking about with presentation? Presentation is when you finish the product, you're handing it over to your real estate agent. What is that looking like? What was your goal for it to be? Because remember, all this is really wrapped up in this plan here. All this is wrapped up in the planning stage. So what did you want this to look like? Were you aiming for the bottom of the market, or were you really trying to take it over the top? So when I say this is, remember this. If you remember nothing else, all the things are important. With presentation, always go for the top of that market, whatever that market is. If the homes in that area are can sell for, after you found this property, and you can fix it and flip it, and it can sell for $350,000 afterwards. It can go from a range of $325 to $350. Always go for that top $350, because that means you're going for the top material, the top quality. You're not going over the top. You're not doing something that won't add to the value, but you're adding the maximum value to that property, because that'll always sell faster. It'll save you money, and it'll save you money by saving you time and not having to fix things on the back end. So you want high quality presentation always. No matter what the money bracket is, that's $1 million, $5 million, $500,000, or $100,000 home. You want it at the top of the market for that market. You want it to look as best as that market supports. So presentation, always go for the top. Always go for the top. Presentation is also the part where you're going to be selling this property now. So what are we selling it for? We should have talked about this in the planning when we're planning with the pros. Really, these two go together. The plan and the people, that's intermingling. So we should know what once we get to this stage, it should be easy because we already talked about what we're going to sell this for afterwards. We're just having them reevaluate the market to see if the prices have gone up a little bit, have they gone down, what has the market done since we started, and making sure we're still locked in. We are not adjusting our prices based on how much money we had to put into the project. Wrong answer. I had to put $20,000 more than I was expecting, so I raised the price $10,000. No, that's not how markets work. You don't get inflated on the back end because you spent a little bit more money, because the consumer is not going to consider that you had to spend an extra $20,000. You're just going to end up costing yourself time, and time is money. You could have gone into the next project and be halfway through with it. So this is just the beginnings of these. What is the 3 P's of real estate investing? What is the plan? Who are the people? And the presentation. I'll get into these more on further videos and really break them down, get into them so you can see exactly what the role of each person is and how they affect the end product. But this will get you started. Remember this in your planning stage. What is the plan? Who are the people? And the presentation. Follow me and subscribe for some more content.